Spring is in the air at Global Voice Broadcasting. Fresh new shows are hitting the airwaves every day. Shows about all the things that matter to you in your life. Music, fashion, celebs, and more. It's all here, and it's getting better every day. Only at Global Voice Broadcasting.
I highly recommend Ms. Hicks. Her books, her CDs are encouraging.
I bought her book, A Hill to Climb. She's a very inspirational speaker.
And I look forward to one day being able to work with her.
Your power lies within you. Let it loose.
Aspiration, inspiration, motivation, edification, determination. These are the keys of life success, brought to you by none other than award-winning author, motivational lecturer, business consultant, and much more, as she gets you aimed to your purpose. And now, ladies and gentlemen, young and elder, from Hollywood to the entire world, here is your host of Aim to Purpose, the radio show, Louise Hicks, along with her co-host, yours truly, Kennon Wesley Mason.
Hello, world. How is everybody today, this wonderful, beautiful Monday? Welcome to Aim to Purpose, the radio show, and I am Louise Hicks, your host.
And I am your co-host, Kennon Wesley Mason, and I want to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone listening and watching all around the world as we bring you another edition of Aim to Purpose, the radio show, and we have a special in-studio guest today. Her name is Kerri Zane. This week's topic is tips for becoming a successful single mother.
Yes, and we will have her to come in, and we're going to share with you her book, because she is an author, and we're going to tell you a little bit more about Kerri as we get further into the show. But we'd like to thank all of you for joining us, as we do every week, to bring you great happenings from around the world. And we'd like to welcome also our studio commentators, Miss Shamika Brown for community news and entertainment, and Mr. Robert Snell for sports therapy.
And actually, this week's topic is really appropriate because yesterday, for everyone here in America, it was Mother's Day.
Yes, it was, and we hope you all had a great Mother's Day, because I know I did. My kids were really wonderful to me, and as I always tell everybody, Mother's Day is really not all about the person that gave birth to you. It's the person that really became that mother figure and that mother role to you, whether she gave birth or not. So we hope you all had a great Mother's Day.
That's right. That's right. And a special shout out, if you will, to all the mothers globally, as this is a global broadcast. And without further ado, we will get to community news, starting with the one, the only, Miss Shamika Brown. Shamika.
Hello. How is everyone out there today? I am excited to be here again, bringing you another episode of Community and Entertainment News. Actually, I'm going to kick it off with some box office numbers, as I normally do.
That's right.
Give you some domestic numbers today. Number one, Avengers: The Age of Ultron. Did anybody check that out?
I haven't, not yet.
That one kind of snuck up, but let me tell you who everybody in Hollywood is in this movie. And if you're not familiar, this is the comic book adaptation, right?
Right.
Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Mark Ruffalo, Don Cheadle, Idris Elba.
All-star cast.
Yes, honey, Idris, yes. Samuel Jackson, you know, part y'all love. Anthony Mackie, Paul Bettany, just everybody's in this film. So, you know, nice to see those folks making some dough at the box office. 77.2 million.
Wow.
Pretty amazing out the gate. Number two is Hot Pursuit with Sofia Vergara and Reese Witherspoon. Now, I definitely caught the promos for that. It looks like a very funny movie. 13.3 million for the weekend. And The Age of Adeline hanging in there now at the number 3 spot with 5.6 million. That's the Blake Lively film.
Wow,
Right.
that was big. From 70 something to 13 and down to 5.
Down to
huh?
5, right. So it looks like Avengers got most of the dough this week.
Yes,
yeah.
they did.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so moving on to upcoming releases this weekend, Pitch Perfect. And now that is Pitch Perfect, Part 2, starring Anna Kendrick, Brittany Snow, Rebel Wilson, and starring and directed by Elizabeth Banks. So shout out to Elizabeth doing her thing out there. And this takes the Barden Bellas to the International Acapella Competition. And already good numbers internationally. They opened early this week, 9.19 million over in Australia. So
Wow.
can't wait to see that one. That looks like a really good film. So
The first one was really funny.
it was. So I'm looking forward to it. So look, I want to switch gears and talk a little bit about some TV shows. As you know, the upfronts are circulating. So you've got NBC, Fox, ABC, and of course, CBS announcing their new shows that are coming out for the fall season. I can tell you that Empire is back. Yeah, I'm excited about. Love me some Empire, and I am hearing that just an amazing setup for next season.
Right.
Even though we have to wait till January, which sucks, but.
That's okay.
Star-studded, but they're getting it together. Shout
That's
out to
right.
Lee Daniels for doing such an amazing job with season 1, and we were just really excited to see what comes up next. It's the new Guilty Pleasure. Thank you very much.
Lucius is in jail till
Lucius,
January.
it's a hot mess.
Okay, well,
It's a mess already.
enjoy it while we build our empire here as well.
That's right.
Louise, but you got to admit it's good entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
But I can tell you some of the shows that are coming back on NBC: Undateable and the Mysteries of Laura, Heroes Reborn, and Best Time Ever is a new show with Neil Patrick Harris. You'll remember him. He was from How to Date,
Mr.
How I,
That's
how
right.
I, what's
How
it?
I Met Your
How Your
Mother.
Mother, How I Met Your Mother. Thank you. And then some other shows coming down the pike. I can tell you that Black-ish and Fresh Off the Boat, they got renewed for another season. And I did not know that Tisha Campbell-Martin was on the Fresh Off the Boat show. So shout out to her for getting back in TV. That
Right.
was pretty interesting. Saw that. And then some new shows also with CBS: Supergirl, Limitless, Rush Hour. And then Fox is also bringing some other new shows to the table with obviously there's already the Sleepy Hollow, which is doing really well. And John Stamos is coming back to TV, and he's going to
wow.
be in a new show called Grandfathered.
Where's he from? Wasn't he from Full House?
Full
or something?
House,
That's what I
yes.
thought.
And
He
I'm
hasn't
like,
been on TV in a while.
Grandfather, I mean, has it
Yeah.
been that long? So shout out to John Stamos. I love
Yeah.
that. And just really, really good stuff that we can look forward to for the next season. So
Wow.
that's it on the entertainment front. And as you will recall, last week I mentioned the Go Mental campaign.
Right.
And I'm happy to announce that the website is launched. Right now we just have a one-pager up there, but it's just to give you a little bit more information on the campaign, so you can go sign up, and just to kind of connect with us, so you can get more information. And the website is www.gomental4change.com.
GoMental4Change.com.
That's right.
The
That's
number
right.
4.
The number 4, yes.
All
Be
right.
clear about that. And if you want to email us, it's gomentalforchange@gmail. So told you we would be bringing some more information to you. And Louise is putting together an awesome package. Y'all should see she's so busy. She's ready to go to Washington tomorrow, honey.
No, I'm
On
ready
this
to go to
petition.
Washington
Tonight.
tonight. I need to be on
Yeah.
that midnight plane
I know,
to
that's right.
Washington.
Yes, honey. I mean, with everything that's going on, and we just really, really want to get some.
Yes.
Get the elected officials, get local government, just the people who are really making decisions out here. We really, really need your support. So this
Yes,
is a
we
call
do.
to action.
Right.
Again, all of the therapists, support groups, just amazing organizations that are already out here working hard on the grounds. We invite you to get involved with us. Again, we're going to have a lot of stuff going on online. This is going to be a social media based campaign.
Yep.
So get involved, check us out, tweet about us, tweet about it. Hashtag Go Mental.
Yes.
Yes, please do, because we need some bailout money for mental, just like we got bailout money for cars.
Hello.
Okay?
Or the bank. Or the bank.
bank.
Or the banks, all of these. So
Yes.
let's get some mental bailout money now.
I know that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
So we are really excited about this. Ken, did you have anything you wanted to say about it?
Well, no, I just think it's a great thing that my mom is launching for a great cause. Anyone around the world that has been affected directly or indirectly of mental illness, get on board with this campaign, because your voice or voices do deserve to be heard.
Absolutely.
Yes,
by
they do.
all of us, because all of us are affected. No one should have a mental illness. It's been labeled as such, but it doesn't have to be.
Right.
And all of us need to know truth. Truth will always set all of us free.
Right.
And the Go Mental campaign, as it's evolving right now, is for anyone and everyone around the world, because this is a global broadcast. So anyone and everyone that wants to participate, come here.
Absolutely.
By all means, come here. And as the mother of a mentally disabled adult child, I know firsthand what this is like, because I've gone through it. That really inspired my book, A Hill to Climb, A Teenager's Battle with Cancer, Depression, and Drug Addiction. So this is something dear to my heart, because I've been battling and struggling with my son and the system because of all of the difficulties within the law for 20 years now, inclusive of the cancer years. So I know exactly that the system is critically and severely broken, and we need to fix it.
Yeah. And we really just want to encourage families, you're not alone. Just want to make sure that you understand that there are people out there, and I think the great thing is that we're just being so transparent about this. I have this new thing where I'm saying that therapy is the new black. Like, let me tell you, I remember a time where nobody wanted to talk about, oh, girl, I'm in therapy.
Right.
But I mean, listen, I think something's wrong with you if you're not in therapy, because check this out. Everybody needs somebody to talk to, a little help, a little boost. We have these up and downs, and I think it's very important to understand that this is it's natural to have life-changing events, life-altering events, and then to be affected by it. So, whatever your situation is, again, we just really want you to reach out, connect with us, because we are here to help.
Yes.
All right? So,
Yes, we are.
Again, gomentalforchange.com.
Yes.
Thank you, Mika.
You're welcome. See you guys next week.
All right.
And now on to...
Yes! It's sports therapy with Robert Snell. What you got for us, Robert?
Well, actually, we're going to be starting off by taking a trip down memory lane to the time I first started here, Super Bowl week. If you guys all remember the big Deflategate scandal.
Oh,
Normally, sports news only stays to ESPN, but that actually got to CNN, Fox News. Everyone was talking about the Patriots deflating footballs and, was it cheating? Is it not cheating? Well, the NFL this week finally decided that it is cheating, and they handed out a 4-game suspension for Tom Brady. For those of you who aren't familiar with football, it's only a 16-game schedule, so that's a fourth of the year.
Right.
That's major.
It's a huge, that can make or break,
That's
your
major.
entire playoff push. He obviously will be appealing the suspension according to his agent, and I expect it to probably get down to one game, maybe 2, but
Yikes.
they have a competent backup quarterback. As far as will it affect their playoff hopes for next year, I don't think so. But it is interesting to see the NFL actually take a stand against their golden boy, Tom Brady, and hand out that big of a suspension.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I really didn't think it was that huge of an issue. Like, NFL throughout the years, like whether it's linemen putting grease on their, pads, or Jerry Rice using Stickum on his gloves, players. Yeah,
There's always been something going on with the players.
I kid you not. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I'm saying, like, the NFL has always been the sport that most of all has always looked for any way to win, you win, So I think it just falls into that culture and is really just being overblown because he got caught.
Yep.
Yeah, so they're saying those sticky fingers were intentional, huh?
Right. Well, no.
Absolutely.
For Tom Brady, it was a cold weather game, so he deflated the football a little bit to get a better grip on it because, it's harder to throw a bigger football in the cold weather.
I see.
But they were the champions. They were clearly the best team. I don't think anyone can take that away from them despite these allegations.
Of course.
Yeah. Moving on to NBA, though, it was a great weekend for basketball. Basketball got exactly what they could have hoped for.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're a Clippers fan, you really got what you wanted for it.
Yes.
Clip. Hooray.
Yeah.
Team.
Fun fact, the Clippers became only the 9th team in NBA history to beat a team in the playoffs by 25 points for 2 games in a row.
Right.
They are doing amazing.
Yeah, and for a team that's never made the conference finals before, they're only with a game of that. They look to have nothing in their way. And then it'll be, can they take down Memphis? Maybe Golden State, but
Yeah, that's gonna be rough.
And
yeah.
there's something going on with one of the players at Golden State too, right? Did someone get
As far as not to my knowledge.
okay?
No, did you hear anything?
No, I haven't heard anything.
No, yeah, nothing.
Injured? I thought I heard somebody. One of the bigger players was out. Maybe not.
No. Conley was out for
That's
the
on
Grizzlies.
Memphis, so.
Oh,
Yeah,
Grizzlies.
But
Okay.
he's going to be back. Pau Gasol missed Game 4 for the Bulls over the weekend against the Cavaliers, and that ended up maybe being the difference of that game. For those of you who didn't see, the Cavaliers won Game 4 on a LeBron James buzzer beater by 2
Derrick
points.
Yeah, I
Rose.
saw that.
Derrick Rose, he hit the Game 3 buzzer beater. He banked it in for the win. The bank
Right.
stayed open late on Friday night.
The
for
bank
him.
is open.
Yeah.
Always.
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 And the bank stayed open late for Paul Pierce, too.
Paul Pierce.
Yeah.
Chris Paul. Same
That was
thing.
back to Game 7, but
Yes,
yeah, no.
yes.
I mean, it's been a really exciting playoffs. The first round was kind of one-sided. A lot of teams took commanding leads and held on to them. But in the second round, all the underdogs are, by seeding at least, is who's coming out ahead. Like,
Yeah.
you have Memphis, who people I think kind of overlooked because of the prolific regular season the Warriors had, and they've showed that size matters in the playoffs. You know, defense is what wins championships. Excuse me.
Yep.
Yeah, right now Golden State doesn't have an answer for Zach Randolph or Marcus down low.
No.
And the Grindhouse, it looks like they're going to grind out another.
Looks like it will be Clippers and Memphis.
Yeah, and that's actually been a playoff matchup, in the past.
Yep.
And Memphis has traditionally gotten the better hand of the Clippers, so
Yep.
it'll be interesting to see if Doc Rivers can make the adjustments and get over that hump.
That's
because
right. That's right.
I almost feel like it's kind of destiny for this Clippers team, like
Of course.
when you look at-
Finally.
when
Of
you look at
course.
who they're playing, because
Of course.
the Spurs are like a traditional power, so it's like a rite of passage almost to get through them.
That's right.
And
It
then
is.
Memphis has been their one
The thorn in the side.
exactly.
Right.
That's been the one team all along that has always been able to stop the Lob City back when they're that, and now the new style, they have the answer for that too. So
Yeah.
will they get through?
Yeah. It is exciting.
Yeah.
It really
it's very
is.
exciting.
Yeah.
What else you got?
In baseball, actually, so occasionally sports does cross over to the real world, so to speak. And the Baltimore Orioles today will be playing their first home game since the Baltimore riots. And instead of wearing their traditional Orioles across the front, they'll be wearing Baltimore in support of the city of Baltimore. And they are, welcoming the community, saying we support Baltimore and the movements,
Right.
So it's
Kind of lighten the mood out there.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
well, that
that's
city has always supported the Orioles. They've been good. They were a playoff team last year, but for the early 2000s and most of the 2000 to 2010 stretch, they were a poor franchise that still sold out many games at Camden Yards. Camden Yards is one of the best selling stadiums of all time. So that community supported them, and now it's good to see the Orioles returning the favor and support them in their time of need.
Right.
Love it.
So yeah.
Great.
All right. Anything else for us today, Robert?
That pretty much covers it. Right now, the Wizards are playing the Hawks, and Paul Pierce actually moved into 20th place all time on the playoff scoring list. He scored the first basket of the game, I believe.
There you go.
Now he's doing his thing.
Yeah, the truth.
Right.
Wow.
Thank you.
All right. Robert and
Very
Shamika,
good.
thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
And on
you.
that note, we're going to take our first break, and we're going to come back with our special guest, Kerri Zane. And she has a wonderful book called...
Yes. The book is called It Takes All Five. And can you see that?
Yes, It Takes All Five, a
Takes
single
all
mother's
five.
guide to finding the real one.
Yes, and our topic today is tips for becoming a successful single mother. And I
Yes.
love talking about this because I was a single mother.
And we will be right back, so don't you go nowhere. This edition of Aim to Purpose, the radio show, is brought to you by L. Hicks Consulting Services. When you want the best in business coaching, life coaching, or perhaps your organization, business, or company is in need of a dynamic speaker for an upcoming workshop or seminar, contact Louise Hicks for L. Hicks Consulting Services at 1-562-310-1495. From anywhere around the world, that's 1-562-310-1495. For more information about Louise Hicks and her consulting services, visit her website at www.louisehicks.biz. Again, that's www.louisehicks.biz or call 1-562-310-1495. L. Hicks Consulting Services, where professionalism is top priority.
Hello, we're back. Hello again, world. I am Louise Hicks, your host of Aim to Purpose, the radio show, along with Kennon Wesley Mason, my co-host. And we're back with our very special in-studio guest today, Kerri Zane, who has written this dynamic, award-winning book, bestseller, A Single Mom's Guide to Finding the Real One. The real one here. Can you see it? Let me kind of back it up a little bit. There we go. And now we're going to share a little bit about Kerri before we move right into this segment of Aim to Purpose, a radio show.
Yes, Kerri Zane is an internationally recognized single mom lifestyle expert, co-parenting authority, speaker, spokesperson, Emmy Award-winning television executive producer, and Amazon best-selling author of It Takes All 5, A Single Mom's Guide to Finding the Real One. She has an MA in spiritual psychology from the University of Santa Monica and a BA from UCLA. So let's give a warm Aim to Purpose welcome to our special in-studio guest, Miss Kerri Zane.
Welcome, Kerri, and thank you so much for coming in and giving us those muscles here. All right. Thank you for coming in and sharing this today with us, because this is a topic that's dear to my heart, really, because I've been a single mother for years. I was a single mother, still is actually. Tips for becoming a successful single mom. And that's what we want, really. We want single mothers to be successful, because we know there's stigma attached to single mothers, that we don't do what we're supposed to do for our kids, and we're this, we're that. I mean, you name it, we're the other.
Right.
So today we are going to dispel some of those myths. Most of them, or maybe all of them, huh, Kerri?
I hope so.
Hope so. So this book, I've been through some of it, and I tell you, there's a lot of good stuff here, and I got some good questions about It Takes All 5. But what inspired you, Kerri, to write this book, first of all?
I'm a little nervous. You got a lot of time.
Yes, I do. And, you know, well, let's hope we get a chance to get to these tasks.
Those are some talking points for you.
Yes.
Just a few. I was separated and divorced about 13, 14 years ago. And I remember at the time there was no resource for me. And I felt very alone and very afraid. And I didn't know who to turn to. I didn't know who my friends were. I didn't know how I was going to put a roof over my kids' heads. And so, I managed and I survived. But I still felt like there was an empty spot that needed to be filled. And so
Yes.
In 2010, I closed down my production company, and I decided I was going to write this book. I went back to school. I got a master's in spiritual psychology, which really changed the flavor of the book, and I'm really pleased that I was able to do that. And start this, a very active website and a very active community, and hopefully, and actually I know the book is helping people, because I get some great feedback, and it makes me feel really good.
And that's a great thing, because we know there are so many people out there that really are seeking help, and to give them this help in this book, It Takes All 5. But I'm looking at it, and when I first saw it, I said, wow, A Single Mom's Guide to Finding the Real One, and it takes 5. I said, what does that mean? I got to figure out now, what does it take all 5? What does that mean?
Well, it's a little bit of everything, because the first 2/3 of the book really is about figuring out who you are inside and out. So that's part of the 5, and then how do you move on and find a new relationship should you choose to do that. The 5 represents who we are as human beings. So it's our mental, emotional, spiritual, sexual, and physical selves.
Yeah, and that's good to know, because we know we have to kind of go inside to find out who we are and what are we here for and what is our purpose. And there's a big word you use. In fact, there's some other words in here too. And I said, I got to get the meaning of these words. But this big word, Expectationer.
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
You did.
Best spectationer, yes.
Yeah.
What is a best spectationer?
Yeah, I know. It's a hard one to spell, and I don't know if it's going to make it into the Urban Dictionary, but I really like it.
It works.
So, yeah, thank you. It's kind of the combination of being the best and expectation. So how do you get to that place of being a best expectationer? And one of the things that I love to share with my community and with single moms that I help is that living in that knowing that every morning you're going to wake up and something is going to happen. You're going to have an email or an interaction or a meeting or something, and it's going to be great. You know, if you live in that place of expecting the best is going to come back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so true.
That's universal, too.
Right.
Yes.
It really is.
Yes.
That's universal.
Yes.
Yeah. It
Works for single dads. Works
Yeah.
for married dads.
Yeah, that's right.
Works for all of us.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
And as I mentioned before we did that wonderful introduction of you about the challenges we face, and I know as a single mother, I raised 3 children, Kennon being one of them, my oldest child, and there are a lot of challenges that we do face, and oftentimes we ourselves don't understand or know how to facilitate ourselves through some of these challenges. So what, you being a single mom too, what are some of the challenges, and how do we get through this?
Yeah, you know, I think there's so many things that single moms face. You know, like we get blamed for things that are like ridiculous. Diabetes in the country, we're blamed for it. You know, Detroit is in disarray, we're blamed for it. You know, it's like we
blame the single mother.
Yeah, you know, kids don't know how to read. It's our fault, or they're not reading. Newspapers aren't selling in New Jersey. Single moms, it's us.
Right.
It's like, how does that happen? You know, and so that aside, I mean, I think that what we deal with personally is you know, how are we going to support our kids? How are we going to raise them the best? How are we going to give them a well-rounded, you know, everything so that they don't. I don't like to use the word mistakes. Like, I erase that from my
That's right.
vocabulary.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, right?
Me too.
It's about choices. So
It
how
is.
do we teach our children to make great choices?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I think that's what we deal with as single parents, and probably all parents deal with.
Yep.
And also, you know, I mean, I don't know how much we want to get into the whole dating thing, you know, but we all want to have relationships. And so I think there are
Yes.
challenges in how do we balance our personal lives and our parental lives
Yeah.
and our
Right.
work lives.
And
Yeah.
because we have
We're
to juggle
Yeah.
as
All the time.
single
And
parents.
it's a challenge.
Yes, it is. We're juggling all alone all the time. We got this to juggle. Like you said, we get blamed for everything. If the pot boils over, whose fault is that? Uh-oh, single mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted to get into some of the book is very dynamic. By all means, I wish everyone would go out and buy this book because it really shares a lot of information. And I want to get into some of that, not to the extent where we'll cover the whole book, because we want you to read it and get the gist of it, because it really does give you some steps, some vital steps to help you to better facilitate. And not just for single mom, this is for moms, period. I feel anybody can really have a good understanding of how to facilitate yourself through raising children. So when you talk about the outside 5 and the inside 5, now what exactly is the outside 5 versus the inside 5?
Well, it's that combination. I mean, it's the 5. So it's the ones that we mentioned before, which is the physical, emotional, spiritual, sexual. You know, those are the 5. So
Great. Because that's what makes our life what it is, really. We have to grow spiritually, emotionally. We have all kind of stages through life that really help us to get through our lives. And I notice you talk about in the book on, I like this quote. You know, I love quotes.
oh, good. There's a lot of quotes in the book.
Yes, it is. And I was reading it and I saw this quote. And it says, too many people overvalue what they are not and undervalue what they are. And that's Malcolm S. Forbes. Is that the rich Forbes by any chance?
Different Forbes.
It's another Forbes.
It's another Forbes. But yeah, I mean, I think that we do all do that. We doubt ourselves. We question our judgment, and I know for me, especially A-type personalities, it's like you're never enough. You've never reached the apex, and what are you going to do next? And I think a lot of times we have to take a step back and just pat ourselves on the back. Like sometimes you just get up in the morning and you get your kids to school and you like, hurrah,
Yeah, and praise yourself for that.
Good, yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. And we do need to take a step back and stop, like it says, looking at what we're not and look at who we are and what we are and better that part of us. Go into that spiritual.
And part and parcel of that, especially with single moms, is how do we take care of ourselves? That's like, again, in that balancing, because I think that's all single momhood is this one giant ball of balance, is how do we create that me time for ourselves, And so I love that that exercise that they have us do on the airplane, the oxygen mask exercise. I'm sure people have referred to that before, but you think about, like, the first time I thought, what are they, crazy? I'm supposed to put the air mask on me before my kids? Are you kidding me? But it implies how we should really live our lives. We need to take care of ourselves, or how are we going to take care of the people around us? And any single moms who are listening, and moms too, if you're listening, you got to take a break, even if it's 10 minutes, 3 times a day. Doesn't have to be all at once, but do what you love. Read your book. Go out and look at the clouds. Lay down on the cement and stare at a rainbow. Like, just do what you need to do.
Yeah, and children, when they're old enough, they will occupy themselves long enough to where you can do those things, even if it is for 10 minutes. There's nothing wrong with a parent taking a break from parenthood. We all deserve it as parents.
Yeah.
It is a 24-hour job, but at the same time, as in any job, if you don't take a break, it can have dire consequences. Too many people hold things in and then they lash out at the child, versus going in and taking care of these 5 elements here: the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, and resolving those and then moving forward. It will make things a lot easier in moving forward, because for many women, becoming a single mother is a part of their journey.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be a negative.
I was just going to say that. And by the way, it's not bad. The longer you get in it, the more you love it. It's great. I don't know about you, but I like sleeping diagonally in my bed sometimes.
I'm telling you. and you, the more you get into it, like you say, you really do become. You can become good at being with yourself.
Yeah.
Yes. And making your own choices.
Yes.
And then standing in those choices.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Makes
whatever
a difference.
they are, however you want to raise your kids,
That's
you
right.
do it.
And not feeling guilty. Too many mothers, especially single mothers, have been put on the guilt trip.
Huge.
For making a decision to take a break, making that decision to get away for the weekend with their girlfriends or with their whoever they happen to be dating at the time, or whatever the case. It is okay. It's okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of guilt. It was like, when you're at work, you should be at home. When you're at home, you should be at work.
Exactly.
There's just so much going on. It's like you have to release the guilt.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
You can't move forward in life. And feel free, if anyone wants to ask Kerri any questions, to call in, because we are live and we are global. You can call in from all over the world.
All over the world.
323-522-5482.
That's right.
Again, 323-522-5482.
That's right. From anywhere around the world. And when you do call in, make sure that your volume is all the way down so there is no feedback and we can hear you loud and clear. But for single mothers, like you said, the guilt part of it must subside, and the emotional emotional part of it, because I'm not good enough, or I wasn't good enough to keep the man that fathered my child. All of these different elements that come about when a relationship may happen to not work. People go their separate ways for whatever the reasons are. As long as the child knows that both parents are still present, versus the parents pretending that there's something going on, things will work out much better in most cases, at least.
Yeah. I mean, there's two. I have a whole section in there that talks about guilt. By the way, just one thing I want to say is, I want you guys to think about what guilt accomplishes.
Yeah.
You just take a step. Just take a moment and think about that. What does it do for you?
That's right. That's right.
Nothing.
That's right.
So, and the other part, to your point, as long as children know that you unconditionally love them and you support them, and they come first in your life. You can't go wrong.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
And both parents, you need to make your kids feel comfortable. And it doesn't matter, by the way, if they're 4 or 44.
Right.
Am I right?
Right.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So,
and children begin to know children are a lot smarter than we give them credit for.
absolutely.
They have a complete understanding of what emotions are being fed to them, because children go off of emotion. No matter what you say to them or how you say it, they go off of the feeling or the intention presented to them based on what you tell them. So they respond better to that. So if you're giving them that emotional attention that all children deserve, especially early in life, that will take them wherever they need to go in a more positive direction.
Yeah, and by the way, and I share this with a lot of the single moms that I coach. When we talk about dating, and they're like, no, I can't do that. I'm going to wait till my kid's 25.
Right.
But it actually gives your children a lot of responsibility, because they feel like they need to entertain you, so or take care of you. So if you can spend some time with your girlfriends or go out on a date, and couch it in terms that they understand. So if they're little, you're going on a play date, and it releases them, and they feel like, okay, I can play with my friends, and mommy can play with her friends, and everybody's okay.
Yeah.
That is so true, and you need to do that. And something else Ken had said about sometimes single mothers might feel guilty and say they're not good enough, but you can reverse that now and say he wasn't good enough to hold on to you.
That's true too. That's true too.
Because
That's true too.
it goes both ways.
It goes both ways. Yeah.
And also the fact that it's about, last week we had a guest on and we were talking about transgenerational trauma and how this trickles down from generation to generation, and something you brought to light, Kerri, about the Me First. And this particular guest, Denise Williams, has an organization that's called Me First. And that's a good thing, because if you're not capable of taking care of yourself and you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of anybody else mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually, any kind of way, really? You're not going to be. And there are a lot of people that are caregivers for the elderly, or even children for that matter. And some of these are single parents. So if you don't take care of yourself and you don't say me first, you can't take care of anybody.
That's right. Yeah. And there are, a ton of people who are just right in the middle of the sandwich generation. I have a mother who's 95 years old, and I had, my kids were 7 and 11 when I split up with my former spouse. And so it was kind of that balance thing, And then when my dad passed away, which is when I decided to really focus on this, because I realized how much there is that juggling, and it became more juggling, and you do have to find the balance, and I did have to take care of myself. And for me, and I suggest this too, is like I exercise. I mean, that's my release, and it's an endorphin high.
Yes,
you get to go out, be in the fresh air. Get that stuff. Get the hormones.
Get the
rolling.
brain circulating.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like your own internal, marijuana.
Keep that body active and keep that brain active. And something else you talk about in the book, about filling the glass. A lot of people look at the glass as, is it half empty instead of half full? And we are pessimistic about so many things. And I like when you talk about that, because sometimes we look at, oh, I've heard people say this, my life is never going to change. I'm just doomed to be in this situation forever. And just a quick story, I heard a minister tell his congregation that they're going to be struggling forever, almost ever. So tell us a little bit about why you wrote this part and how the perspective on fill your glass.
Yeah, there really is something to what you put out into the universe is what comes back to you. So and it's that best expectation or sort of feeling like if you know that things are going to have a good outcome, then chances are you do have a good outcome. And I'm just not making it up. I mean, I did a lot of research in writing this book, and there are people who write about optimism, and in that they have found that people who are positive have positive outcomes. If you feel like your future is going to work out well, then it does, and we by nature actually humans are positive. So you have it in you. You can do it.
That's right.
It's just tapping into it. And being happy is not just something that happens to you. You have to work at it. It's like that exercise. Yeah. So exercising happiness is something that you have to take on. So you're going to wake up in the morning, maybe you write yourself a note about how happy you're going to be today. Maybe write about what's that best expectation you're going to get that day. Like you really have to work at it.
I like that best expectation. You got to plan that best
I'm going to keep putting it in
I
there.
like that best expectation.
It's going to be a Twitter hashtag soon. You're all going to know how to spell it.
Yes, best expectation, how you plan that day. And that's so good, because single mothers, we are our biggest influence on our children. And if we're not having a good day and the children see that, that's not going to help them. So we got to put our best foot forward to get our emotions intact.
Right.
And that's how we do it without being so pessimistic about everything and thinking it's going to last forever, because nothing lasts forever. You're going to go in and out of the moment, right?
That's right. And like I said, my mom's 95 and I love her, and she's just like, you don't get to that age and not have a lot of wisdom.
Yeah. Yes.
So when I would have a bad day, she would tell me, and I do have bad days just like everybody else.
Yes, we all do.
Right?
Of course.
But she would say, you know what, Kerri? We're like, life is like a Ferris wheel. So sometimes you're on the top, sometimes you're in the middle, and sometimes you're in the bottom. But the good news is it never stays in the same place. I was like,
That's right.
Thank you.
Yes,
That's
what
right.
a relief.
Yes.
That's right.
Thank you.
And
That's
I
right.
know what you're saying, because my mom is 91, will be 92 this year, but she suffers from multiple medical issues, but she's had so much wisdom she's passed down over the years, and even in her dementia now, she still passes down wisdom, and I admire her, even though sometimes she forget I was in her room. She doesn't live in the state, and I might leave out. She knows all of us, but I might leave out, and the next time I come back in, where have you been? I haven't seen you in I don't know how long.
But she's happy to see you every time.
Yes,
right.
every time. So
right.
I know we do live in the moment by those experiences. Now, here's another quote. I love quotes.
All right.
It says, live out your imagination, not your history. How can we as single mothers live out our imagination and not our history? Because we know being divorced, I've been divorced twice. That's a history.
Yeah.
But I don't want to live through that. I want to live out my imagination too.
Yeah.
How can we do that?
One of the things that I learned in my spiritual psychology program was that everything in your life is a story. And a story is just a story. And you have the opportunity to rewrite, or as I call, rescript, another one of my words because of my
I like
TV
that
background.
one. Rescript.
That's right. That's right.
So you get to rescript your story, and we all have them, and you can make them doggy downers. You can make make the glass half empty, or you can figure out another way to change your story and make it,
and just feel that glass.
Have a happy ending,
feel it.
That's right.
Have a
Feel
happy
the glass.
outcome.
Yeah.
Rescript your life, and that's a way of rescripting.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
and it's another thing because I have my background I have my board certification for a holistic psychology practitioner. Happiness is our divine nature. It's in all of us to have happiness and love until someone influences us to go a different direction. And, this...
if you allow them
if
to.
you allow them to. Exactly.
Yeah.
Which, again, it goes back to personal responsibility. All of us, by divine nature, are to only focus on our path, and then everyone else comes in as co-stars.
Right.
Or the people that we allow to be co-stars, whether it's a spouse or friends, business associates, whomever. We allow those people to come into our lives. They do influence us to do things, but we have the power to control all of that and take responsibility. And as a single mom, those responsibilities get passed down to the child because they will mimic what you do, being the first teacher.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny because I had a situation that happened just this morning where this man was, I was working out at his gym, and all of a sudden he like got in my face about being there, and he's like, "You don't belong here, and you shouldn't be here." And I walked out and I was like, I know. And I thought, wow, this is just like, this is Monday and it's only 9:30 and I'm already having an argument with somebody and this is gonna, like, my whole day is going to be a mess. And then I thought, I am not allowing this man to mess up my life, and I'm going to be on this fabulous radio show. And so I like, you know, and I literally talk to myself, and we all talk to ourselves, right? The voices in our head. And I said to myself, you know what? That was about him.
Yep.
Something happened to him this morning.
That's
he had a fight with somebody, or he woke up on the wrong side of the bed. This is not about me. This is about him, and I am not letting it affect the rest of my day.
That's right.
And so there.
That's
Was
right.
that about loving your vessel?
Yes. Exactly.
What's a vessel?
Our vessel is our bodies.
Okay.
The body,
that's
the temple.
physical. It is.
The
You gotta
temple.
love your vessel.
The vessel, the temple.
That's great. I love it. And now let's switch gears a little bit about dating. I mean, it's
one of my favorite
difficult for single parents because that's another stigma that's put on single parents. Well, you're not supposed to date. I mean, what is that all about?
That's a good question. Why? What, are we all supposed to be Vestal virgins all of a sudden? I don't think so.
Childhood took it from you.
Yeah, right.
Or childbirthing took it from you.
Yeah.
Or having a child.
Yeah.
You can't do anything anymore.
You cannot let your ex-husband or wife or your children not allow you to have a social life. You know, interacting and having relationships and being touched and being kissed and having that feeling. You know what? That's good. That's healthy. That's another thing. That's another me time thing. I cannot impress upon you the importance of going out on a date.
Yeah.
You don't have to love that person, but you know, like, you have to interact with them.
Yes.
And if you feel like you want to touch them, do it.
Because that's a part of humanity, really, is connecting with other people. And that doesn't mean you love your children any less, because as long as you are a good parent and you're nurturing and loving to your children, I don't see anything wrong with a parent dating. You just have to keep it in the proper perspective with your children. And I mean, to get that stigma, and it amazes me how these married people talk about single people dating when they date. When did married people stop dating? A lot of them, not all of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's true. That's true. But it should be on the top 10 list of to-dos. You know, and put it in there somewhere.
Yeah.
It's
Yes,
fun.
yes, it really should.
It can be fun.
It can be.
It can be fun.
And that's part of that script that people can rewrite. They can rewrite a script that says, I will enjoy life.
Yes.
Still.
Yes.
No, I mean, no matter what. Yes, I will continue to be a great parent, but at the same time, I need my own headspace.
Yeah. One of the quotes, I don't know if you picked this one out, but it's one of my favorites because I made it up. But, you know, I always say dating is a journey, not a means to an end. And so it is about that, enjoying the process of going out on a date. And let me tell you, I've had some really bad dates. But you know what?
I can
tell my friends, like, they laugh at my dates. they live vicariously. So
Yeah.
you know what? Nothing is bad. Nothing is wrong. And then sometimes you meet somebody that you like, and you do something that you've never done before. I learned a lot about wine that I didn't know from someone
Yes.
who's a wine
Yes.
connoisseur.
Yes.
What is wrong with that? And
Yes.
he's not Mr. Forever, but
Yeah.
he was Mr. for right now, and Mr. Right Now was pretty good.
And you call that the real elation? That's another
Real
word.
relationship.
Say that one. What is it called?
Real
The relationship.
Relation. Now, how you gonna find the relation if you don't? The real relationship.
Yes.
How you gonna find it if you don't date?
That's right.
Right.
I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good
Well,
question.
and plus, I mean, you just you learn more about people that you may want to keep in your life, and you also learn who you want to weed out, and you also learn about who you choose to be around at your comfort level.
Right.
You know, because again, you're the star and you bring in the co-stars.
And actually, you can't really learn about yourself. You can't learn about relationships unless you're in relationship or unless you're
right.
interacting
Yeah.
with somebody.
Interaction.
Yeah, there's so much you can do. There's so much writing you can do, that internal work, which is great. But then there's the exterior work.
Interaction.
That you can do
Yes,
too.
it is, and it doesn't mean as a single parent you're going to be hanging from a chandelier, because I know you talk about that too all the time. You talk about that in the book. I mean, this is a great book. I'm telling everyone, go out and read it. It's a great book, and
And there is no right or wrong either. There's no right or wrong.
Right.
That's right. It isn't life. It's like we're just here once. You may as well
Yeah.
try it. Trial and error. You learn the things that you should do, that you shouldn't do, or you like to
Right.
do, you don't like to do. I mean, I shouldn't say should or shouldn't, because that,
Yeah,
I don't like that either. But you know, like what you like, what
Well,
you
you
don't
learn
like.
what's best for you in your
Right.
life journey.
Exactly.
Because it's all about a journey in life, and you learn what's best for your journey, because each one of us is a unique creature.
Yeah.
And we learn.
Right. There is no right or wrong. Here, especially in American society, too many people, single mothers, again, are have the finger pointed to them or judged for what they choose to do after they become a parent. Who they choose to date, who they choose to associate with, how they choose to spend their money, or whatever the case might be. And talk down to because of that, and oh, you shouldn't do that, this is going to happen to you. That's their decision, and that's their choice of how they want to maneuver their life path.
Right.
No right or wrong. You're going to learn one way or the other, because with everything that you do, there will be an outcome.
Yeah, you know, I got tired of people making me feel bad. I tell this story too, like, you know, the scarlet letter A, you know, and I used to feel like when I was at my kid's school that I was the one walking around with the scarlet letter D. I felt like this big failure, and you know, it didn't matter how many other single moms were out there. It was like, what did I do wrong? Until I got to the place where it was like, I didn't. It just it didn't work. The relationship didn't work, and it was time to move on to a new chapter. And let me tell you, my daughters now are 24 and 20, and they are amazing. They are amazing young women, and they're both in wonderful relationships right now. And so it doesn't mean just because their mom, you know, like my relationship with their father didn't work out, that they can't have healthy relationships.
Exactly.
And we're so judgmental. But the last quote I have is from you, and I love it. And then we're going to have some final thoughts from you. It says, let your soul direct your heart, and your heart direct your body. Only then will your body, heart, and soul soar. I like that. And that is your quote from Kerri Zane.
Thank you.
I really like that. So expound on that a little bit for us, and then give us some final thoughts. And
I do, you know, it is sort of that inside outside, you know, how you feel about yourself is how you will portray, and it just, feeling good on the inside helps you emanate like happiness on the outside, and it becomes this 360 cycle, you know. And then when you're happy with the outside, then you feel better on the inside, you know. You mentally feel better about yourself. And so however you get there is, I don't care, as long as you get there.
Right.
You know, take any step you want. You want to start in the middle of the book and work on, you know, your body and your finances and all that first, and then go back and work on the head stuff.
Yeah.
that's okay. You want to work on the head stuff first, do your journaling or whatever it is that you need, then do that, and then go to the outside.
Because one thing I share with single mothers too is that when you are married, because I've been married twice and I'm 64, so I got a little bit of wisdom here. you really need to make sure that you understand finances, because it doesn't have to be a divorce. It can be a death. And you're lost. I know women like that. They are lost. So understand finances and understand how to structure your life financially, as well as spiritually, emotionally, and physically, because that's vital. So what's the best advice you can give single parents, Kerri? Single mothers, fathers too, for that matter.
Yeah. I just feel like if you go through, whether it is divorce or it's death of a loved one, you really, the most important step is that me time. It's taking care of yourself, and don't rush to find something else. Take a step back.
Yes.
Really be introspective. Allow, if you have pain, if you're feeling pain, feel it.
Yeah.
And just, however long it takes you. Like, some people may be, good in a month. Some people may take 5 years. It doesn't matter. Just take the time that you need to really feel good about yourself before you put yourself back out there in the world.
Right. Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Coming from a single parent perspective myself, I totally agree with that. That is some of the best advice you can give a person, particularly that's recently out of a relationship. You really need that me time, and put me first, because you will be no good to your children or anybody else if you're not emotionally, physically, financially. You have to put all of those things in the proper perspective.
And anyone who is interested, I know, and thank you so much. Anyone who wants to read the book, I love getting your feedback. But there's also, on my website, I have online courses that you can look at and check out if you want to take it to the next level. It's a great companion to the book. There's writing exercises that you can do. So like the things that we've talked about today, it's just a step-by-step guide that will take you through it. It's audio and written, and you can do it anytime you want, because I know single moms are busy, so it's not a webinar. It's it's free time.
And give
whenever
your
you have
website.
it.
Yeah, give us that website.
So easy. KerriZane.com.
Oh,
Easy. KerriZane.com. KerriZane.com.
That's it.
And this book, hold that book up again, Kerri.
there you go. Yes.
It takes all five. A single mom's guide to finding the real one. KerriZane.com.
Yes.
And we would like to thank Kerri for coming into the studio today and sharing all of this information with us. You've been a great guest. We really appreciate it, and thank you so much. And we know the single moms out there appreciate it as well.
Absolutely.
And be sure and go to her website. And she's a coach, and great coach.
Yes, single mom lifestyle expert, co-parenting authority, speaker, spokesperson, and all the good stuff. So we want to thank you for being a part of this show, and we're going to check out by saying,
as you always hear from me every week, your power lies within you. Let it loose until next week.
yes.